everybody. My name is Tiara White, and this is my speech on the modernistic music era. Traditional musicologists tend to date the modernistic period in music from about 1890 to about 1930. They typically call the music produced after about 1930 postmodern. The key word in modernistic music is always innovation, which means the practical application of ideas that result in the introduction of new goods or services. Modernism in music is characterized by a desire for or belief in science, nature, intelligence, anti romanticism, and other forward thinking. Modern music is also known as 20th century music. The fashion of the modernism passed in its development in three stages. The first stage from 1898 to 1900 assumed the correct posture of the figure, expansion of the sleeves from the wrist to the shoulders. The skirt had the shape of a bell, elongated and trimmed with frills. The second stage from 1901 to 1905 is characterized by the shillette, large hats, natural shoulder line, extended sleeves, and richly decorated skirt. And the third stage from 1905 to 1907 was distinguished by a shortened skirt, slightly opening the toe of the shoes, and practically devoid of decor, and the return of the silhouette to a normal vertical position. Since 1903, dresses had become freer, corsets had gradually disappeared, upper clothes were supplemented with hats, currant shoes, and boots with lacing and heels, umbrellas with frills, and walking sticks with gloves and mitts. A little bit of the music background would be the modernistic period of music began with the rejection of the grand style music, characterized by Wagner's grand operas and a rejection of the established. Like the writers, visual artists, and architects of the early modernistic period, composers and musicians committed themselves to exploring entirely new means and methods of expression, new techniques of musicianship, and new aesthetic procedures and effects. The 12-tone system, largely pioneered by Arnold Schoenberg, for instance, offered a wholly new and unfamiliar approach to tonality and melodic treatment. Igor Stravinsky increasingly rejected traditional classical approaches to metrical rhythm, and Alexander Scriabin called for enhancing performances of some of his music with extra musical effects like light shows and fan circulation of fragrances in the performance hall. Others called for playing instruments in previous unheard of ways. My first song choice is by Aaron Copland, El Salon, Mexico. I chose this piece because this is an extremely difficult piece of work to perform, but this conductor and orchestra made it seem so easy. I thought Copland had an excellent performance. And Aaron Copland was an American composer, critic, writer, teacher, pianist, and later a conductor of his own and other American music. Copland was referred to by his peers and critics as the Dean of American Composers. The open, slowly changed harmonies in much of his music are typical of what many people consider to be the sound of American music, evoking the vast American landscape and pioneer spirit. He is best known for the works he wrote in the 1930s and 1940s in the carefully accessible style often referred to as a populist. Although Copland visited Mexico early in the 1930s, he based his tone poem not on songs he heard there, but rather on written sheet music for at least four Mexican folk songs that he had obtained. My second song choice is Benjamin Britten, War Requiem. I chose this piece of music because it is a wonderful performance by all and a true tribute to the many young people who gave their lives to the First World War. Benjamin Britten was an English composer, conductor, and pianist. He was a central figure of 20th century British music with a range of works including opera, other vocal music, orchestral, and chamber pieces. His best known works include the opera Peter Grimm's The War Requiem and the orchestral show piece The Young Person's Guide to the Orchestra. The War Requiem is a large scaling set of the Requiem composed by Benjamin Britten. mostly in 1961 and completed in January 1962. The War Requiem was performed for the consecration of the new Coventry Cathedral, which was built after the original 14th century structure was destroyed in World War II bombing rage. Themes in his opera included the struggle of an outsider, a hostile society, and the corruption of innocence. In comparison, both men showed talent from an early age. They both studied music and came into the public's attention with their credible modernistic music. In addition to large scale operas, they also had performances in venues of modest size. Both men left the world with brilliant music pieces for us to enjoy the modernistic music era. In contrast, the two songs are different because Aaron Copland's work contained three musical styles and goes through the series of three twice, starting each time with the upper class music, passing through a more vigorous working class music, and ending with the foot stomping dance of the pleasantry. Divisions between the sections are clear, as if one had walked through a doorway. The upper class music suggests formal European dancing of the 19th century. The pleasant music is far richer, rhythmic, and more powerful, with a suggestion of pre Hispanic Indian in it. The work's conclusion celebrates this kind of music, not that of the well to do musically. The work displays brilliant Copland's populism.